At Saucony, we've revolutionized how we're creating footwear. Over the years, historically, we've been concerned about what happens when the runner's heel hits the ground. And we've put a lot of energy and time into engineering the post and where it should be located and how we should structure the crash pad. This whole minimalism movement has allowed us to pull back our cameras, in effect. And instead of just looking from the rear at heel strike, we're looking at the entire runner's stride now from the side. So there's been all this talk in the last year about heel to forefoot offset or heel drop or heel to forefoot differential. What the heck does that mean? Well, it's really very simple. All we're talking about is the relative thickness of the heel of the shoe to the forefoot of the shoe. So if your heel is 12 millimeters thicker than your forefoot and you have a 12 millimeter offset. We're now introducing shoes with an 8 millimeter offset, Kinvara 3 with this 4 millimeter offset, the Hattori, which is 0 offset. Historically, running shoes have been about 12 millimeters plus or minus 2 or 3 for the last 20 years or so. But we learned when we introduced the Kinvara that runners actually prefer to have a lower heel to forefoot offset. There are really 3 reasons having this lower heel to forefoot offset is good for the runner. First, when the foot comes down and your heel and forefoot are both on the ground at the same time, the lower the heel is relative to the forefoot, the greater range of motion your plantar flexors, that are the muscles in the back of your calf, have for moving. So those muscles actually store and return energy in a very elastic fashion. So if your heel is lower compared to your forefoot, that complex in the back of your calf that actually used to push yourself off the ground has more room to move. The second reason runners prefer this lower heel to forefoot offset is it's easier to make a transition to a midfoot strike. So if you're a heel striker, you hit the ground with a real sharp heel strike and you get a real impact loading. If you're a midfoot striker, that impact load goes away so that the force with which you hit the ground is actually lower if you're a midfoot striker. Now, you don't need to change your stride to run in these shoes with this lower offset, but if you want to, it's much easier to do with this lower heel to forefoot offset. The third reason runners prefer this lower heel forefoot offset is that it's just more comfortable. And the value of that is it puts your foot in a very balanced, comfortable, and powerful position.